The Guerin Report, brought to you by Diatonic, standing at Yulong. Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to the Guerin Report, 2 days after one of the great occasions in the history of New Zealand racing. How's your horsey hangover? It felt a bit that way yesterday, didn't it? All that information, all that hype, all that adrenaline coming out of our systems. What a wonderful experience. Congratulations to the team at NZTR, NZB, and of course Ellerslie for putting on the show, and the team here at Trackside for showing it to you. Our sister show yesterday, Weigh In, taking you through most of the race reviews. We, tonight on the Guerin Report, are going to take you behind those scenes for the three biggest races and talk about all those people at Ellerslie who had their moment on a very cool day under the Auckland sun. One of the great stories at Ellerslie is the inner sanctum. You don't get to see it very often. There's a racing office, which Craig Baker is in charge of, but some of the trainers sneak in there for the biggest races to be away from the crowd, away from the cameras, and to watch the races. One of those is Robert Wellwood. Ken Kelso is a regular. Occasionally we see Richo in there. Tony Pike is another one. Tonight for the Derby, where Roger James and Robert Wellwood continued their great run, we're going to take you in to that inner sanctum. Roger James is, of course, now a 7-time Derby winning trainer. He is the king of the Derby. We watch the race with the prince of the Derby, Robert Wellwood.
Hong Kong Jockey Club World Pool NZ Derby horses make their way around to the back parade. Number 3 is Road to Paris. One thing we know about this horse is that he has ample amount of ability.
And he's in the right barn. You know, he is in the barn of Roger James and Robert Wellwood.
Now no one can see this till after the race. Have you got a plan? Have you said to ex-jockey, you go here, we would like you to roll forward, blah, blah, blah? Is that actually how it works, or is that what we just believe happens?
Oh, look, I think Ariadne will naturally sort of roll forward. There probably is going to be a little bit of speed. She'll probably roll forward, ideally sits outside, 1-1, but that's going to take a great ride from Muster to get there. Road to Paris will be riding quietly. He does too much wrong to be sort of using him early, and we've left it quite neutral with Autumn Glory. She's got the ability to sort of use herself a little bit early and perhaps switch off. Widdamo's just going to have to decide from a wide gate. If he jumps well and he thinks there's a spot in the hole, he'll jump in there. So ideally with her, we'd say a midfield one off, but yeah, these are all dreams.
We're in the office, the racing office, Craig Baker's office here at Ellerslie. You've had a lot of success here. Let's just hope nothing goes wrong and they all get a crack at it.
Thanks, Maggie.
Roger James, he knows how to win a Derby. George Simon, he's got 3 chances in this.
Stand by for the start. Stephen Barlow has them. Oh, there's some activity in the stalls here. The centre field, let's bring it on. Gates open, they're off in the Derby. He jumped away well, that's Gold nearer the inside. Jenky's right there with Geneva. Going forward also out a bit deeper on the track, Taylor Square with Magic Carpet, and right there also Halo's Fire. Sweet Ice will look for cover just in behind those from Lunar Man and Tulsa King in between runners. Then came Wigmore. Ariadne's going to posse up just in advance of it. Well back in the field, Autumn Glory, one of the favourites, is back 5th last, followed by Axel Towering Vision. 2.5 back to Road to Paris, and last is Yamato Satona. So it's keen in the early stages as they work up their eyes, leaving the straight. Genki leads over on the inside, and now deeper Magic Carpet strides forward. Then settling 3rd, Halo's Fire. Geneva is 4th. Then came up on the outside, Taylor Square, followed by That's Gold. Ariadne is next from Sweet Ice out deeper, with cover though, followed by Tulsa King. 2 lengths away, Wigmore as they head into the back. Then came Lunar Man, 2.5, Autumn Glory. She's back 5th last from Towering Vision. Axel, Road to Paris, and Yamato Satona is last in the Derby as they work towards a halfway point nearing the 1200 metres. spread out over 15 lengths. And the pacemaker is Magic Carpet. There's Sweet Ice going forward, made an early move and goes forward now to apply pressure. A long way from home. 2.5 away next, Taylor Square, Geneva and Jenke. Then 2.5 back next is Halo's Fire from Ariadne. No moves as yet. Followed round then by That's Goldie, spotting the leader 7 lengths. Wigmore came next from Tulsa King. 2 back Luna Man. Autumn Glory would be 10 lengths off the leaders at the 800 metres. And then came Axel, followed by Towering Vision. Then Road to Paris and last Yamato Satona. Expect the fireworks very shortly in the HKJC Whirlpool New Zealand Derby. And the leader is Sweet Ice, led by 2 from Magic Carpet. Halo's Fire's on the improve, so is That's Gold on the outside. Ariadne's away from the rail, and then came Geneva, Tulsa King, and Autumn Glory's on the prowl as well, out deeper. Homeward bound, 3:50 to go. Sweet Ice the leader. That's Gold is 2 lengths away, but closing. Here's Autumn Glory down the outside, and stablemate Road to Paris coming with it. And behind them, Geneva, then Wigmore and Yamato Satona at the 150 metres. It's now Autumn Glory tackled by Road to Paris on the outside. Geneva's coming after them. It's Road to Paris and Autumn Glory. Road to Paris. Roger James trained to 7th Derby winner. Road to Paris beat the second over Autumn Glory. Second across was Geneva and Wigmore likewise.
That's awesome. How do you feel?
Wow, it worked out. It worked out. He's been our Derby horse all year. That's
Shit, oh dear. What a
unbelievable.
ride. Let's go. You do your thing. Actually, I'm going to follow you. How are you feeling right now? What's the buzz like?
Oh, that's unbelievable. The run 1-2 is even better.
And the tempo helped, eh? There's a lot of tempo.
Great tempo. It worked out for Georgie. He was very patient. Great for him. Like he's come over here from the UK and he's been a great asset to our stable. He comes in every week and he's just a champion bloke. So to get a major like that, and especially we're just so proud to do it with him.
Our thanks to Robert Wellwood for letting us share that experience with him for his second derby. And of course, to Roger, now 7 derbies in New Zealand. He's won a Queensland derby, and that's where he could be heading with Road to Paris. The owners are based in Queensland. They are suggesting Queensland in late May rather than Randwick in early April. That to be decided this week. What was decided this morning, Autumn Glory, who was second there and second in the Oaks, heads to Victoria, joins Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr. She may well take on her Yulong ownership mate. I hope he wins. And the ATC Oaks at Randwick on April the 11th. Also, congratulations to Kylie Hosking. Great job with Geneva. He was unlucky, but he did the stable proud. It was one of the Group 1 classics for the day, a race steeped in history, a race we're only getting to know is the NZB Kiwi. Stephen Marsh had been in the spotlight for such a long time with the intensity about well written. Let's go back and check out the race, and then we're going to hear from Stephen Marsh, a man very much in his prime, and we'll go back and reflect on his remarkable day.
300 metres to go. She's made the lead, well written. She made the lead and went clear by 3. He Who Dares is out after her. Azakura's putting in a huge run out wide, and Belcheval's running on. It's well written in front. Belcheval's going to get very close. Well written needs the post. Belcheval's lunging. They had it. Oh, gee, that's very close. Belcheval's had an almighty lunge right on the line with well written. She's done it. She has held on, well written, by a nostril.
Should I? You've done it?
Yeah, well, Mick, it's just nice to be sitting here just chewing the fat after the race, but yeah, it was an interesting race, wasn't it?
You know, I watched her go down to the start, and she didn't look as fluent, as happy as she did here on Monday.
Well, you know, bigger crowd, she probably got a little bit excited, but, you know, I think what we've got to remember is, you know, she's still quite an immature filly. She's had, you know, it's her 6th run, had to peak a couple of times, and that's probably why we were so sort of vulnerable fresh up this campaign. But she's delivered, and 58 kilos is a lot of weight, you know. She's had to carry the big 58, and which they weigh out at 59, so it's a lot of weight, but she's done the job. She's stuck the head out, and look, obviously super proud of her, and remains unbeaten.
At the line, we've got some great footage we're going to show, but you're like, yeah, oh. Did you think you'd won?
No, I didn't. I'm not one to go the early crow, but I thought at the 200, she's going to win. I thought we'd just been nailed, and I guess when you lift yourself up so much for a race and the expectations from not only me, but the team and everyone here, you know, you look around, the cameras were like right there, and it's like, Jesus, it's you don't want to let everyone down.
It's a bad day to get it wrong, isn't it?
Oh, it's a real bad day to get it wrong for everyone. I was eyeing up the top of the grandstand. I was going to jump off that. I'd already worked out a way I could get up there, but no, all jokes aside, you know, and when George said she's done it.
She's done it. She has held on, well written.
You know, it was a great thrill. And then you got another lot of emotions come through when the siren goes, and I thought it won't be us. She's a great filly. I hope that's nothing to do with us, that siren.
Obviously, you heard that siren go. There's an inquiry. It is second versus first.
But then it was, so then it's back to the drawing board and we're in the room. But
Did you feel better once you saw the head? Because once I saw the head on, I thought, she's okay.
Absolutely. When I went in there, I thought, no, they've, you know, the second horse has come in, we've come out of it, they didn't touch. I thought the race was fair, and I didn't think there was anything in it, but you know, you still want the call to go your way, and anything can happen, but I think they definitely got it right, and it was the right result.
You reckon you'll keep her? I spoke to Sam Fairgrave, who's a decent bloke from Yulong, and Mr. Zhang's here today, and he's all smiles. You reckon you'll keep her? I reckon you will.
Yeah, we will keep her. Yeah, I think Yulong, and you know, it's good to see Mr. Zhang here. You know, it's good to see him at the New Zealand races. It's great, and you know, Sam, you know, and they get a big buzz out of it here too. And I think what they've put a lot of money in, but they've had a really good spin on the New Zealand racing. You know, they've invested high, but I think they're really enjoying what they've got. And you know, she will stay here. She'll spell. She will not go to Australia in the autumn. She needs a spell, and we'll target spring.
Been a remarkable 2 years. I mean, we've spoken a lot over the years. Sometimes we just talk rubbish on the phone, but been a remarkable 2 years. Part of you wishes your mum was here for this. That'd be just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was funny. It's and I'm not going to get emotional, but Dad came up to me afterwards and he said, I didn't want to say before the race, but it's his and Mum's 52nd wedding anniversary today. He said, I wasn't going to tell you, and especially if we got beat, he wasn't going to tell me, but that was pretty special. I mean, I put a little lump in the throat, a little tear in the eye, and Dad cried, and you know, it means a lot. And of course, we'd love to have Mum here, and unfortunately not, but maybe that nose was her doings.
Pushing from behind. A lot of people proud of you, mate. It's been a remarkable 2 years, apart from obviously that tragedy, starting Velocious and El Vencedor and Provence. Must be weird sitting here like with two mates who talk a lot, sitting here on NZB Kiwi night, and the big party's about to start, and I hope I can get involved a bit later on too, but it must be weird to sit here and think, you've done that in 2 years and now you've this.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal, and you know, I'm very proud of what our stable's done and the whole stable and team. You know, like our success has been great. We've just got great clients. We're so lucky to have brilliant staff. You know, that makes the whole job so much easier. But you know, even going to the yearling sales this year, and you know, having the support of so many good loyal owners and new people coming into our stable, there's no better feeling. And when it all comes together like it did today with a race like this, I mean, it is the Kiwi. It's the race named after us here. It's the biggest race in New Zealand. It is special, bloody hard to win, and we'll certainly cherish it.
A lot of people out there watching this show on a Monday night don't know you, and they won't get to know you, but they love the way you've brought this to the game and enthusiasm, and some people seem to like the fact you've got nice skin. I don't know where that comes from. I hear that from older ladies from time to time. We're proud of you. Congratulations. It's a cool thing. Do you feel that? Do you feel that people are saying, shit, Stephen Marsh is one of the guys now. He's at the top.
Yeah, it's lovely. I actually had one older lady today that was married that said she quite fancied me. I said, oh, that's...
What have you had a massive day there?
Yeah, and I said, oh, that's lovely. And then 2 minutes later, she said, "Oh, he's my husband." I was like, "Oh, there you go." But no, it was cool.
You lost that one in the room too.
He was a lot bigger than me. I would have lost it in the room, all right?
It's always nice to have a bit of distance between the race and the hype and the adrenaline, and to sit down and talk to the trainers and find out what goes on in their mind behind the scenes and what it means to them. What is well written? Well, she's a champion 3-year-old. That's what she is. She's also going to be a horse of the year. Where does she sit? Well, we'll find out next season as a 4-year-old. She has nothing left to prove at 3, and we can all enjoy seeing what she becomes at 4. A horse who also had nothing left to prove at 3, but went on to become a superstar, was Legato. This may be her last race, the $1 million Bone Crusher New Zealand Stakes. We don't know that just yet, but let's go back and enjoy it, because this was maybe the biggest yell on the whole of Champions Day at Ellerslie when she loomed up at the 100-metre mark.
Legato, she's spotting this leader, 8 lengths, then followed by the Odyssey. Back with it also Positivity, Provence and Tuxedo last. Homeward bound, 3:50 to go. Kingswood the leader. White Tack within striking distance. There's 3 lengths away, Jaffe. Legato starting to unwind in their final race, possibly in New Zealand. She's coming after them at the 200. Kingswood, White Tack. Legato's ranged up on the outside. Legato, White Tack, late run Tuxedo. Go girl! Legato! Legato started in her swan song. She's got a Group 1 at Ellerslie.
Well, you've had a hell of a summer. A dream summer with Legato, Ken. I know what it means to you, but I also know that straight after the race you were on the phone to the person who's most important to you. It must have been lovely to be talking to Bev, considering you trained this horse together.
Yeah, it was. It was very special, Mick, but she actually, I don't know whether she watched it, because when I rang her before, she said, "I'm not going to watch the next one after the mare went through the rail." I said, "Well, it's up to you." And then when I rang her, she actually said, "Did she win?" So I don't know whether she watched it or not, or whether she thought it was that close. But yeah, no, very special.
You always mention Bev. I know she doesn't get to come to the races that much these days, but there'd be no Kelso racing without her.
No, dead right. I mean, we've been training in partnership for 40 plus years. Bev actually had a licence before me, Mick. She had it for a couple of years, or 12 months or so or more before I did.
What about Legato now? Because let's go backwards before we go forwards. Was there ever a time around Boxing Day, you said to me after the race, we watched together, Zabel Classic, what do you think? And you sort of, I could hear some doubt in your voice. Was there real doubt that you would see this version of Legato again?
Yeah, it probably was some doubt. I mean, you always got to... We've had a lot of mares over the years, Mick, and you know when mares switch off, they get to 5 and 6-year-old and a year older probably, and, you know, 6-year-old, they can sort of switch off a bit. I've had plenty like that. And I was starting to wonder, are you doing that? You know? But then I kept the back of our mind, we kept thinking she's too... Bev used to come down and watch her at the stable and say, she's too fat, you know. So, yes.
She did look skinnier at Tarapa. Well, she'd obviously dropped some weight between Zabel Classic and Tarapa.
I think the secret to her probably was that trip to Wellington in the Thorndon. We deliberately, we knew we were going to get a wet track, and we knew it was it was going to be a mile, and she carried 58 kilos, so she wasn't that well off on the handicap. But we had to do that to get her back in racing condition. And I think that run at Trentham was probably the key to her coming back to the form she is.
A lot of people watching the show wouldn't realise you utilise Opie Bosson when you can to ride track work. I'm not sure he could have ridden the last 2 races any better than he did.
Well, it was a brilliant ride at Tirapa, and I thought he was a bit further back than I would have thought today, but he knows best. I'm not going to tell Opie how to ride a horse, but he rode her on Tuesday morning in a gallop, and he came back and he said, she's flying. And Opie doesn't say that very often, and he said, she worked better today than she did leading into the Herbie Dyke. So that was a real, you know, thinking, yeah, we got her back where we want her, and hopefully, always the back in your mind about Ellerslie, But, you know, as I said in a couple of reports, she hasn't gone bad here. She'd won here, she'd been placed in Group 1, and most people give their eye teeth to run places in Group 1s, but it wasn't the Legato that we had seen, but it certainly was in the last 2 runs of Herbie Dykin today.
How are you feeling? I mean, I know you're a guy who takes a lot on board, very emotionally on race day. How do you feel now knowing that Legato, win, lose or draw, if she ever goes round again, she's cemented herself and you and Bev have helped her achieve that?
Oh, yeah, it's great satisfaction. I mean, yeah. And it annoyed me a little bit when, you know, when people started, when she wasn't winning, you know, and they'd sort of forgotten about her, I thought, you know. She should have gone through a 3-year-old year unbeaten and won the Australian Guineas. I mean, and as I've said, you know, you look at the honour roll of the Australian Group 1 Guineas, it's, you know, Sabille and Pins and God knows what else, you know, and I think there's only 5 fillies who've ever done it. So I think people have forgotten how good she really was.
When people say well written might be the next Sunline, they're skipping a horse in the middle.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she should have been unbeaten, definitely, as a 3-year-old. She got knocked over in the Cracker Million and should have won it. And then she went and won Australian Guineas. So she should have gone through that 3-year-old season unbeaten. But that's history. She's now a 5-time Group 1 winner. That takes her stake earnings to over $3 million. Plus, she got a $500,000 bonus as well for the Stayer of the Year a couple of years ago. So with that on top, she's $3.5 million earner. And, you know, it's pretty good, isn't it?
A look there at what a Group 1 can mean to a couple and to people who've been together on this journey. Ken and Bev Kelso, will she go to the Australian Cup? She was mine, I'd send her. It's a bonus. It's a free shot at the stumps. She's won 2 Group 1s back to back. Go to Flemington. Maybe you get another one. If you don't, when she goes through the sales ring in late May, no one's going to remember if she missed that one. So Legato, hopefully, heading to Flemington. There were, of course, 4 other black-type races on the day. The first of them, what a wonderful story this is. Ken Harrison training, Lindsay Savaglee in the saddle. You often see them knocking around at smaller race meetings. They don't get many opportunities like this, and Lindsay did not waste hers. Beautiful ride to get Moxie home in the Albasti Equiworld Classic. Big deal for her, and let's be honest, why wouldn't you now take the chance at a Group 1 down at Trentham at the end of the month? Very convincing in a race where plenty of others had their chance to run her down. From one mare doing something spectacular to another mare doing something spectacularly bad. Alabama Lass was going to win the Hanui Farm Kings Plate for the 2nd year in a row. And of course, you know what happened. Here she is in front for Sam Collett. Swades Day outside her, holding. Sam has to go behind the saddle. You can't be in a big race and not ask the best of your horse, just in case you get beat. When she does, Alabama Lass goes, oh, hold on. And Swades Day runs on to win the race. Swades Day potentially heading to the Stradbroke if, of course, Road to Paris goes there for Roger and Robert, the stablemate. Alabama Lass, she's okay. A little bit of a cut under the leg, nothing serious. Spoke to Ken. She'll head to the paddock. Of course, she will be back next season. No one at fault there. One of those racing incidents. It could have been so much worse. Let's get to another one of the unbeaten superstar fillies of the day. We know a little about Well Written. We're still learning about Lara. Here's Lara Antipova. Man, they've had a remarkable record in this race, have Tiaka, this time under Mark Walker and Sam Burgesson. And Fortuna, those colours, we don't see them all the time, but John Galvin's done a great job to keep finding good horses for his owners. She's a class filly. Clearly going to be a juvenile of the year. And now she heads to the Cranbourne Barn, where she has options both in Sydney, more likely down the straight at Flemington. Just on the Cranbourne Barn, the often wrong rumour mill and racing suggesting last week Tiaka are going to close it down. Mark Walker laughing at that suggestion yesterday because he's going back to be the boss there. So yes, Cranbourne sticking around and getting a very good new horse in Lara Antipova. Just on their stable, Balcheval, of course, who ran so wonderfully second to Well Written. She could potentially go to the Vinery in Sydney, so it's on the table. Bale Cheval could go to the vinery. That decision probably coming at the back end of this week. Well, this used to be Auckland Cup Day. Now it's so much bigger than that, but they still had an Auckland Cup. And wasn't it great to see Henry Dwyer, an international trainer, in town with an international syndicator? OTI, that's their blue and yellow colours, you know them well, have a remarkable record. Terry Henderson, the man who set up this company, who own Paradise Storm, who is putting a cricket pitch between himself and the Wellington Cup winner. Terry Henderson has now sourced, through OTI, the winners of the Brisbane Cup, the Melbourne Cup, of course, the great Doremus, the Sydney Cup, the South Australian Cup, and now the Auckland Cup. He's got the full box of dice. Remarkably, he's also won all the main derbies in Auckland, of course, and around Australia. So if you're looking for a staying horse, you want a cup winner or a derby winner, maybe OTI, who are now based in New Zealand along with Australia, give you a chance to buy into those type of horses. Another addition to our very strong syndication ranks. Not all the champions we saw were in the saddle or in silks on Saturday, of course. Other champions do other things. That happened on Friday, where two of the big studs in New Zealand, with the help also of big-time owner Ben Kwok, got together to purchase Savaglee, to keep him in New Zealand. A wonderful horse, a Guineas winner, and almost a Guineas winner in Australia. We took the chance to talk to guys who are putting it on the line to keep our breeding industry going. Here is Windsor Park and Mapley talking about the acquisition of one of our best horses. Rodney Shit from Windsor Park Stud. When you were watching Savaglee winning the New Zealand 2000 Guineas about 15 months ago, you probably didn't think you'd be able to get him.
Well, to be fair, the first time I saw him was at Matamata when he won the group race there, and I was excited then. So, look, we've followed his career, and we're just very happy to secure the horse.
How do negotiations go when you find out a stallion's on the market? What's the first call? Do you go to Rick Williams and say, hey, Rick, what are you thinking? How much?
Yeah, look, as I say, you know, he was on our radar. We just said, we want to come and see him. Rick said there's no Dutch auction. We're just going to best offer. And so Sims and I sat together with the team and put our offer together with Ben Kwok, who's a great client of ours as well, and, you know, put it there. We got it done.
So Windsor Park and Mapley have done business together before. Sims Davidson, must be cool to think that he's going to be standing at your place because he's got proper New Zealand Group 1 form and went that close to winning an Aussie Group 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as a stud master, you always have your dream lists, you know, early on. And, you know, the lucky thing about this horse is he showed that great form as a 2-year-old and then went on as a big champion 3-year-old. So, as I said, you always have your dream list, and then to get one over the line like this is just phenomenal. And I'm very lucky that I've got the support of, you know, of Rodney, and it makes things a lot easier when you go and buy a horse with a great support behind it. You know straight away he's going to get the numbers that you require to make a successful stallion.
And Ben Kwok has been heavily involved in New Zealand bloodstock now for well over 5 years. A shrewd investor, so it's great to have him coming on board into a part of the industry he hasn't always been involved in. I know he's had a couple of dabbles, but this is a pretty serious dabble.
Oh, absolutely, and we're spoilt to have him involved, and obviously Roddy's had a long-term relationship for a long time now, so it's great to for him to put his trust in Rodney, and then obviously follow it on to me. So very, very lucky, and feel very spoilt to have someone like that involved to back the horse and give him every chance that he's going to need to be a successful horse.
When does he turn up at your place?
He'll be turning up shortly in the next couple of weeks, so he'll be there, and we look forward to parading him to everyone there. So no.
You've always brought the big guns in to do the celebrating. Windsor Park Stud, Rodney, they're experts at celebrating. You've got Big Nick and Big Mike here. I tell you what's a real bonus too, as much as we all love Savaglee, Waikato Stud suggesting he's probably in his last season next season, so people go looking for the next best, and well, Savaglee fits that.
Yeah, well, I think he's probably the best son, you know, like he's the third fastest 2,000 guineas on the record, so look, we're so excited. Savaglee's been fantastic to us and to New Zealand. He's bred by probably the premier farm in New Zealand in Waikato Stud, so we're just hoping that those genes will carry on. So yeah, really excited.
Good on you, fellas, and to your bodyguards. Great to be talking to you about Savaglee staying here for New Zealand breeders. an incredible day. I loved it. I hope you did too. I'm sure you did. Thank you to everybody who helped put Champions Day on for 2026. It was even better than 2025. I'm so looking forward to 2027. That's the Guerin Report here on a Monday night. We'll see you next Monday on Trackside and trackside.co.nz at 8 p.m. The Guerin Report brought to you by Diatonic, standing at Yulong.